The Lakota Sioux are known as the powerful plains warriors who fought Custer at Little Bighorn and controlled the Black Hills. But here's what most people don't know. The Lakota weren't originally from the Great Plains, and the Black Hills they consider sacred were taken from the Cheyenne, who had taken them from the Kiowa, in a cycle of displacement that happened for centuries before Europeans arrived. Ready to find out how indigenous history is more complex than native people lived peacefully until colonizers came, and includes territorial expansion and warfare between tribes that shaped the continent long before 1492? The Lakota originally lived in the woodlands around the Great Lakes in present-day Minnesota and Wisconsin. Living in forests, harvesting wild rice, and hunting deer, they were not plains people and had no horses until the 1700s. In the late 1600s and early 1700s, the Lakota were pushed westward by the Ojibwe, who had acquired guns from French traders and used that technological advantage to drive the Lakota out of their traditional territories in conflicts that fundamentally changed both nations. The Lakota moved on to the Great Plains and acquired horses from other tribes who had gotten them from Spanish colonizers. This combination of displacement and gaining horses transformed the Lakota into one of the most formidable mounted warrior cultures in North American history within just a few generations. As the Lakota expanded westward in the mid-1700s, they came into conflict with tribes already living there, including the Cheyenne, Kiowa, Pawnee, and Crow, and through superior numbers, organization, and strategic use of horses, the Lakota pushed many of these nations out of prime hunting territories. The Black Hills, called Paha Sapa, and considered sacred by the Lakota, were controlled by the Cheyenne when the Lakota arrived around 1765. The Lakota fought the Cheyenne for decades and eventually pushed them south and west, taking control of the Black Hills and surrounding buffalo hunting grounds by the early 1800s. The Cheyenne themselves had only controlled the Black Hills for about 50-75 years before the Lakota took them. They had displaced the Kiowa, who were there before, and the Kiowa had likely displaced earlier inhabitants, showing that territorial control was constantly shifting long before European contact. This doesn't mean the Lakota were villains or that their resistance to U.S. expansion was less justified. It means indigenous nations were complex societies with their own histories of migration, warfare, and territorial conquest, just like every other human society throughout history. The difference is that when the Lakota displaced the Cheyenne, these were conflicts between nations.